All righty. All right. And today is Monday, March 30th, and everything's green. Everything is green this morning. We will step in here and look at the NASDAQ. Not my favorite market, but we have a number of levels I think that are relatively important today. I'm actually going to change the color of this. So we have an R1 23,796, which was these lows from back on Monday of last week. Little double kind of touch there, and then the big sell-off pretty much all every day all last week. I don't think there was much room for any. There was literally not many bounces at all. Didn't quite make it to S2 yet. 23,052.75. So I think it's a good idea to mark 23,768.75. Let's see, showing 23,775. Yeah, again, doesn't have to be perfect, but we want an area, and we are going to put the alert content. Alrighty, you. Okay, doesn't like that. It's a low of the day from back on March 22nd, 03, 22, 26. All right, and we have that marked. And that, I'll actually even put a smaller note here that if this fires off, there's an R1 at 23,796. And that's on 03/30/26. And, the reason is now I don't have to really put two alerts, because look, if this one hits, chances are this one will likely get plowed through. And I'm really looking for a point of engagement. So there you have it. And it doesn't seem to like. Yeah, I did everything right. It doesn't like it. Why doesn't it like? You're probably typing JSON. Yeah, no shit. Oh, I put a single quote. See that? It knows. It's got to be double quotes. JSON loves double quotes. Okay, there you have it. All right, and so that alert is set. I'd also put a line up there, right? Why not? But then also the R1. And you have a high volume node here on the profile on the 1 hour. At around 23,862. So there's a lot going on around there. So again, a point of engagement on the NASDAQ. That's really all I see on the upside, other than this R2 could possibly be, in my opinion, R2 could possibly be the trade of the day, because it's not only the highs from Friday, but it's also an R2. So you kind of have two things coming together there. And then a third thing, right? We have a bit of a high volume node there with a lot of red. So you kind of have three things converging up there, putting this one as kind of a high profile alert. And that's not what I wanted. So yeah, this one, could quite possibly be the trade of the day if we get there. And based on the way things are going right now and the way things are trading, it doesn't look that far-fetched to be able to get up there. So we have an R2 and a high of the day. So it's an R2 from 03. You got to put the dates in because otherwise it doesn't mean anything. Because if it doesn't go off, you want to make sure that you have context, that you're looking at something that you remember why you put it up there. That's why you make these comments. So, and then it's also a high of the day from, let's see, 29, 28, 27, 03, 27, 26. Okay? Right. So there you have it. So you have kind of, and then I could also put, could also do this and say there's a high volume node 1 hour profile. Okay, so I mean, this way when it goes off, you're kind of like, you're refreshing yourself. And then by me just writing that down, you're kind of refreshing this in here that, look, there's something in the queue that you need to be aware of. All right, and so that is kind of it. I'm very unlikely. I mean, I'm not going to say don't mark it, but you do have an S2 23052. We didn't quite get down there. I'm hoping that we don't. And then S1 is also the low of the day from yesterday or from Friday. So that is a very significant level, even though we kind of sliced through it overnight and we've been rallying back. Now, this is all news driven, which is likely why we kind of sliced through this and reversed. But nonetheless, you're going to have to mark this because, again, low of the day, S1, very interesting spot. Now, I'd be careful just kind of going long today, just for the sake of going long, because anything can happen, any news can drop and change the complexion of everything right now. But again, I would definitely mark that 23,230 as an engagement point and see how things go down there. See if we do get a reversal, if we do back down. I'm in the camp that I'm not going to put any context in that because if that one goes off, chances are the news cycle is not good, in my opinion. And it's really important for us to stay above that today. If we really want to bake back in any semblance of even a bear market bullish rally, which everyone's saying we're in bear territory, blah, 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 blah. That in itself is kind of a beautiful thing that the entire financial newscape is all saying that we're in a bear market, which I think is beautiful because that usually means that the end is near. Because by the time those jagoffs are yapping about it, usually means that it's gone. And it happens much faster now than it did. These turnarounds, I don't know if you remember, but I do. These turnarounds used to take months. Now they take weeks, if not days. So anyway, that's the NASDAQ. I'm going over it because I don't really trade it, but trying to help somebody out. So those are the levels that I'm looking at, and I think those all look, to me, I think they're all viable spots today. So let's go and switch gears over to the Russell. The Russell, again, if you look at these numbers, last night you had an opportunity to bang right off S2. Literally, you can't get a better placement of a trade than that. We literally came down, just barely sliced S2, and it's been green candles. These are the hourlies. It's been green candles the entire way up. Now, we are getting a bit of a pretty hard sell-off here, right? We got to have the inverted hammer, or I don't even know. I don't even know candlestick. I don't, honestly, I don't even want to get my head wrapped around it, but candlestick shit is, it sounds really fucking good when you're making videos, but as far as like it being, I don't know. I never bought into it. Sorry, I just never did. Maybe I'm an idiot, and that's probably the case, but I never did. I know what some of the candlestick patterns are. Like I look for hammers and dojis and that kind of shit, but all this other stuff, hanging man and, whatever, bull flag and, all these other shit and things. I don't know. Cup and handle, whatever. Head and shoulders. I'll point them out if I think I see them, the big ones. But as far as a lot of the other minor ones, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. And I don't want to offend anybody. Look, if that's something that you do, that's great. Maybe you can make a video and send it to me, and I'll be happy to look at it. Really, because I'm always looking to learn something new. So anyway, any of these levels today, and more importantly, S1, if you're looking to buy the dip here, if S1 can hold here at 24.52s, which is Friday's lows, you might have a nice buying opportunity in there, 24.52.60. Now, as far as the upside, again, it's going to be R2 for the Russell as well. It's not only the highs of the day, it is also R2. Bye. I just looked down. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I hope so, man. I hope you're right. God hope to believe you're right. You know what I mean? It's just these last couple of weeks just haven't helped. So anyway, that is kind of a pretty, again, this is one I think could be the trade of the day. A short off here. A lot of resistance up here. And I think that's kind of where I'm going with it, and that's pretty much it. Now, if you look at the ES, it's going to look exactly the same. I don't want to regurgitate the same crap, but I think a lot of these levels, like I would love to see this come back and make a base in here at or around this level, right where this high volume node is, and I'd be more than happy to take a long in here. It's about 24.69s. 24.69s. I'm going to go and throw a line in here. 24.69s. Gotta love those 69s. Yeah, 69s right there. Right around here. I would love for this to come back and base in here and, take another leg higher. That might not happen till market hours, though, because I'm not trading this. I'm not trading this pre-market slop right now. And if you weren't in a trade last night, I don't think you want to kind of sit in this right now. So anyway, that's kind of the story there with that. And that's the Russell. And then again, if I change gears over to the ES, it looks very similar to the NASDAQ, if not the same. Again, R2 today, folks. That's the key. R2 across the board on all the equities look like the spot. All right, let's go to gold. Gold had a great night. If anybody was trading gold last night, I wish I was. I was sitting playing video games like a douchebag. I should have been trading. Gold had like a mad dump, and then it just ripped. And then it ripped. And if you actually caught it, you actually got a really good trade. But gold kind of on the mend. But the thing about gold is we need to take out one more. Let me refresh this. We need to take out one more of these swing highs. We kind of took this one out, right? I was talking about this stair step down. If we could take this one out at the 47s, there's a good chance that we can break that. Look, and I don't want to be like, I'm not one of these, I'm not like big on these like drawings and all this other shit, but they've actually kind of held up here on gold. Like, so if we can get up past these 47s, there's a good chance we're going to break that short-term trend line down, and then I think you can get a little more bullish on gold, and it may actually have a little bit more momentum. Because I think right now it's kind of in flux. There's really a big battle going on between bulls and bears, and then as far as you like listen to the news cycle, they're saying that countries are liquidating gold to raise money because now they got to buy petrodollars because oil's more money and blah 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 blah. And like basically nobody knows, right? There's more sellers than buyers, so that's really what it is. And why they're selling, I don't know. I don't try to figure that out. But I do think gold, if we can get up past these 47s, that's kind of the key take. Now, as far as like what I'm going to do today, as far as trading gold, I don't know. I think I missed it last night. I'm definitely going to be watching R2 4584s and also this swing high from back on Tuesday, which is about 45.96. Right? We're sitting right around an area where there's a lot of cheg here to be able to get up. And that's about the size of it. So that's kind of what's going on with gold to me. And I think we get up to R3. I don't even think it holds. I think we blow through there like it's nobody's business. There'll be enough momentum to kind of make that look like it's not. And then you look back. Look, we've been stair-stepping back up. And again, I don't think you're really going to get a real reversal in here until we can take this one out, this 47s. So that's kind of the story on gold. Yeah. And that's really about it. I kind of been looking at copper a little bit. I kind of like the way copper has been trading. Same sort of thing, though, with copper as with gold. We have this stair step down, but now we're also getting this sort of stair step back up. And they do kind of trade the same. Not entirely, but they do kind of trade the same. And we're getting this stair step up. And again, we kind of need to take out a couple of these areas, and we really need to get back to 58s, 583s before we're like, again. But I like the way copper has been trading. And I specifically kind of like this area down in here. If we're able to get back down near an S1 today, kind of churn through these low volume nodes here, I'd be willing to take a trade down here at the 540s. And that's really it. I'm not going to go over copper because it's not for everybody. It's kind of a slow, sluggy trade. And it's a big contract. So let's talk about Earl. Oil is what it is. It's all news driven. There's nothing fundamental. You can look at charts until you're blue in the face. I do think it's interesting that last night we came up to an R2 103.31 literally touched it and tanked. And we've been sitting around this area. This was all pretty much Sunday night. Here it is right down here. This is all pretty much Sunday night. We literally came up to the R2 and sold off really fast. And we've been sitting kind of in this area all night. I mean, it's been a chop house, but we've been sitting in this area all night. And I think everyone's kind of sitting on their hands with oil right now to see if, in fact, the Strait of Hormuz is going to open or not. And honestly, you know, I think I've told you, I honestly think it's been open all along. And I just think that they're turning their transponders off and they're only letting stuff through. They're only letting stuff through based on agreements. And I think you're going to start seeing that news now start to cycle out that there's more and more stuff going through there. Because I just think the oil prices in general are starting to have a pretty big impact on everybody across the globe. So anyway, that's kind of the story of gold. So I really don't know what to say. You just follow along with what you follow along with and follow the news, and that's really it. But I do think that was amazing last night that if you were trading oil, it literally came up, tagged that literally in the first hour of the open and then just tanked at like 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. It was kind of pretty amazing. All right, so that's it. That's as far as everything I got as far as the markets. I think are pretty well marked out. And as far as like stocks and Bitcoin, I was looking at Bitcoin last night. What a piece of freaking dog shit. What an absolute piece of dog shit this thing is. I'm actually surprised it's even, I was actually surprised it was even $67. I have not looked at it at all. It does appear to be a bit on the mend. But, you know, who knows with this thing? I just don't think it has, the liquidity that everybody thinks it has. And I think that's its problem. And meaning that, the markets in here are so light that literally any one buyer or seller can move and push this thing around wherever the hell they want. And that's really what's going on with it, in my opinion. It has nothing to do with, staking and more people are taking stuff off network and blah, blah, blah. There's all these bullshit crypto people that are out there trying to figure out. Look, folks, it's buyers and sellers, and I think it's liquidity. And it doesn't have the liquidity that the other markets have, and that's going to continue to be its problem until it's got more involvement, and I mean broader based involvement where not one or two people can move the thing all over the place. I mean, it's kind of like a exchange traded penny stock at this point that's trading at $67,000 because literally there's 3 or 4 buyers and 3 or 4 people out there, which is like BlackRock and Coinbase and a couple other. They can move this thing wherever the hell they want. It's kind of nuts. So anyway, that's about it. On that, as far as stocks, I'm still sitting on the sidelines. Even though we're going to have a pretty good day, I see that pre-market, like all the big guys are up today. That's great. I don't know if it's going to be a full-blown move up. I do think what I am going to do is I'm going to take an opportunity on an uptick to short into some strength here on some of these software stocks. And the way I'm going to do that is through the ETF, IGV. So I'm hoping this actually has a nice bounce today. And this is the iShares Extended Tech Software Sector ETF. I know it sounds real fancy, but it's a fucking ETF with a bunch of software stocks in it. I'm going to take an opportunity on uptick and any rallies in here to reshort this pig. Now, I shorted it pretty big about a month and a half or 2 months. It was a month and a half ago. Mainly when, I was kind of late to the party, but I caught this leg down and I'm flat. But I'm going to use it as another opportunity when this rallies to short back into it, because I honestly think that many of these software stocks, unless they start merging together and partnering up, I think they're fucking doomed. I think they are absolutely doomed. There's no growth left in them, and they're getting their lunch eaten by open source stuff now on GitHub, and it's not like it's not like it was like 5 years ago where they're literally like taking small parts. And no, they're taking major parts of their business, and basically all these software companies are surviving on existing customers and scaling their cost and their licensing up to grow revenue, because that's it. That's the only thing they have left. So anyway, that's what I'm looking to do, and I'm not going to do anything fancy in there. It's going to be simply just buying some puts. And I like the spreads, so I'm going to stick to some put spreads. I would keep them in the money, and I'm going to probably go out to like June, which is about 80 days. The ones I like the most, I really like this to get back up near 80. But if it doesn't, but that's the strike that I like. I like being in the money, and I like the 80, 85s. Or the 80, 75. And then the other trade that I like the best is I actually like June. Buy in June and sell in May. So buy the June 80, and then sell the May 75. So do a calendar spread. And the reason I like the calendar spread is it gives you a little more flexibility. It costs more money. It costs a little bit more money, but it gives you a little more flexibility where if it doesn't really move in your favor as fast, you have the ability to roll this put into June and kind of give yourself a little bit more freedom and flexibility if it doesn't move as fast as you like. So that's a calendar spread there, pretty simple one, but I do like that again on, and that's what this one looks like. I like this one on moves higher to this as it gets closer to 80. Again, I'd like it to be at or around 80 when I do this. I don't know if it's going to get there today. It's up a decent amount, but I do like that one, and so I will continue to short those into Methuselah. And that's really the only trades I have left. I mean, what am I going to tell you? Go buy the dip in Microsoft, or, and Microsoft, what am I going to tell you? Keep buying this dip in Microsoft when the dip keeps dipping. I mean, this thing just keeps, and look, do I think it's going to turn around? Yeah, I do. I don't, it's not going to go down forever. Just like nothing goes up forever, but this is ugly, man. This is so ugly. This is a 4 hour. We're literally back where we were last year in April. I mean, and I thought I'm already long. I was actually long up here. I got long here, and what happened? And it just got punished again. I thought the bottom was here. No, not at all. I mean, I don't know where the bottom is. Is it here? Is it 340? Is that, who knows? Who knows? But this one looks awful. And I don't know if I want to buy the dip. I already did. I bought the dip, and it's dipping me. I think I'm down about $1,200 in my trade already, buying a dip in there. So I don't know if I want to buy the dip anymore. Hopefully it's got to go up. I'm not going to keep betting on a loser. I mean, so again, and then if you look at all these stocks, it all looks the same. Some of them look a little bit better than others, but for the most part, they all kind of look the same. Amazon looks like Microsoft did 6 months ago, where it came down here and it's the bottom. It did make a couple of rallies, but couldn't get out of its own way. And then what did it do? Wham! I mean, where's the bottom? I don't know. The bottom is where the bottom is. Do your own homework. I don't know. I'm pretty much dip bought out. Even Meta, right? This thing just I thought my magic line was going to hold this up, and it didn't, right? They cut through this like it was like it's Swiss cheese. They could care less. I bought the dip on that. I mean, look, the trend is still kind of up, right? But this doesn't look good. It's got to go up. It's got to go up. And that's kind of the story with all these big tech stock. Google, same thing. This is held up a lot better than the others, but if you just take that time frame, it still looks bad. You know, I bought up here. I bought at 300. Oh yeah, the top's in. Yeah, right. Wham. I mean, if I was looking at this on a chart, this is going down to 250. So I don't know. I'm not ready to buy. I'm not ready to start buying the dip in anything. You know, we need to see some. We need to like post up a few green days, and they don't necessarily have to be in a row. We do have to post up a few green days, and we also need to post up a few not so bad red days. Like, I mean, we need a couple of those days where we're down 15. I'm talking on the ES or even on the NASDAQ. We're down 110. We're down 75. But then kind of back that up with a day where we're up 110 or 120 and then show some signs of like, some stability where we're like, it's the bleeding starting to end. But it's not the case. That's not what's going on. So, again, today could be the day that changes everything. Who knows? It's a Monday. You know, everything looks great right now, but that can all change too. So that's kind of my take on all these stocks, including like Tesla, which has actually held up pretty well and could quite possibly come down to 350. But there's another one. It's got to start going up. Now, the only stock that's really held up better than probably everything, and it's kind of amazing, and it always usually does, and it always gets bad press, and they're always beating it up, but Apple always seems to kind of hold up during these times when shit just... And I almost believe it's become a bit of a safe haven. Because, I mean, you know, and looking back, you kind of look at it like, you know, through thick and thin, everybody's still kind of buying the iPhone. Everyone's buying it. When a new one comes out, people line up and go buy it. I don't know why. I got an old iPhone. My thing's ready to fall apart. I think it's like an 11. But when there's new phones that come out, people are willing to line up. And, you know, this thing really hasn't gotten punished to the level that many of the others have. And it pays a pretty good dividend. It's actually paying a decent dividend now. So, you know, if there was one that I would feel confident in buying the dip on, it would probably have to be Apple, unfortunately. I mean, you know, and it's boring as it is, and I know they're late to the AI game and all this other bullshit, but you know what? Money talks, and I'd feel a hell of a lot safer being in Apple right now. At these prices, at $240, $249, than being in anything else. So anyway, that's kind of my take on most of these big stocks. Netflix, I don't even know what's going on with Netflix. I think Netflix problem is now they're not that new guy or new to the space company where they have some level of innovation and they kind of have a one up on the others. They're kind of like becoming an old slog now in that space. Unfortunately, it's kind of crazy, and but they are, and I think that's kind of Netflix's problem, and they need to innovate somehow. And I don't know how they do that. You know, I'm not familiar with that space, but they need to innovate somehow to kind of change the thing. Because I know more people lately have been canceling Netflix because it is kind of a piece of shit, and I get it for free with my T-Mobile subscription. So I get the subscription with the commercials and shit, which, you know, I can't stand because I think to myself, who is buying anything from these commercials? And you can't tell me that they just work. I just think it's like old school advertising that has just bought into this concept that, oh, they got to spend money on advertising on these things. And that's really because I don't know anybody who listens to or even knows what the commercials, because as soon as they come on, it's like you turn your fucking brain off. And there are only three kinds of commercials. It's either betting, they're either gambling app, erectile dysfunction, or some drug company. selling something, diabetes medicine, Ozempic or something. But it's one of those three, and that's the only ads that you get. And that's not just Netflix, that's across the board. That's basically what comes across. And that's just not me talking about it. That's basically anybody in my age group. That's the ads they see. And we are so like accustomed to turning our brain off now. I don't even know like who is even like paying and saying, yeah, these ads are working. No, they're not. No, they're not. So anyway, that's going on with Netflix. Palantir, I think, is another one that if you're looking for a spot, like, look, it's come down and it's had a big cut down, but it's in another spot where I think, you could kind of start maybe, taking a stab here and there. So anyway, that's it. That's kind of my big shtick on stocks. Don't really have much of anything else. And then looking back at markets, it does look like we're still kind of just chopping and a slopping here. I'm not really expecting much going forward here until the open. So again, I hope all this helps. Got a lot of levels today, I think, that are pretty good. And hopefully we can, get things going today. Maybe